Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College and the digital media program here at the college. I want to thank the folks at Sweet Bay for underwriting Coach's Corner. And today, Coach Rooney Scovel and I will talk about the Lady Commodores, the two big road games you had last week, and 3 games this week on tap. And so, Lady Commodores right now, 7-0 overall, still unbeaten, ranked number 1 in the state coaches poll, still ranked number 1 in the NJCA national poll. So, Coach, off to a good start. Had a little bit of layoff in there, and then had to go up to Rome, Georgia, to where we played Walter State right off the bat. So.
Yeah, we were a little bit concerned after a 17-day layoff. We wondered if we were going to be rusty or whether we were going to play well, and we actually played extremely well. Walter State has always got a great program, and that was the team that we beat the national tournament last year, so we knew that there would be some revenge factor, that they would have liked to have knocked us off, but we got started well and played some really good solid team defense and some pressing action and shot the ball well. So we didn't look so rusty, so I was very proud for us.
Because if you look at that game, you only turn the ball over 10 times.
Right.
And that long a layoff, that's usually where it might show up at, and only have 10 turnovers for the game. And then in 2 of the 4 quarters, you held them to single-digit scoring.
Yeah,
so that shows that the defensive side was pretty sharp also. So,
yeah.
So if we look at scoring by the quarters, it was 21-8, then it was 25-12. And then it was 21-9, and then it was 17-11 for a final score of 84-40.
Yeah, that goes to show you against a really, really good team, a well-coached team. Coach Craigle's, been coaching for, I think, about 44, 45 years, and they're always well-disciplined. They have a nice post game. They have a nice high-low look, and so we were concerned about our post defense and being undersized and, still waiting on Deja to get eligible. So it was a great team defensive effort. The guards had to kind of double team, and we were fortunate. We just had some really, really good traps and showing up on the backside for help defense and got out in transition. Leah Farsi is really starting to push the ball for us and improving in that area and starting to look a little more like she did at the region tournament last year. So if she can continue to do that, we kind of go as she goes. So if she pushes the ball, we push the tempo, and so everything looked good that night.
So Commodore style play.
Yeah, we looked like a Gulf Coast team that night. We definitely did, and she is kind of key to that of getting the ball up the floor. I mean, everybody playing their role. I thought that was probably the key thing. Rebounders did their job, defenders did their job, ball handlers, and we just all it was just a great team victory. So
if we look at the scoring, Bondu with 16, and then. So, but she's pretty consistent with that.
Yeah, Naomi's gonna, get double figures most of the time. Probably the better one was, Njai Labu, that we call Labu, got 16 points, and so just a great effort.
So that was the thing there. They come off the bench to get
Absolutely.
Those. And so she's playing better and better in that post, and so doing a good job there. And if we go back, Smith and Jones with 15 apiece too. So.
Yep.
So kind of what you expect from them.
Yeah, absolutely. If we can get, I'd like to see Naomi get in that double-double area if we can, and some rebounding. Being a big guard, we got to get her to get some more rebounds. And Todd is I think Todd is averaging double-double right now with maybe 11 points and 10 rebounds a game, or vice versa. But, so we're going to need that as we move into Panhandle play.
And so if we look at the shooting for the game, 77.8% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
So probably pleased with that.
Yeah, that's a good percentage. Our numbers for being a team that didn't play for 17 days, our percentages were really good that night.
And so 25% from behind the three-point line and 48% from the floor.
Right.
So a long layoff, single-digit holding your opponent to single digits in 2 quarters,
Yep.
and 10 turnovers. There was no rust there, Coach.
No, that was a nice win.
So picked up that, had to go up there, and then we played Georgia Highlands, Georgia Highlands.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and won 85-63. Won 3 of the 4 quarters there, so they made a little run in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, that one was probably a little bit of a shocker to me. We scored 31 points in that 1st quarter, and we were playing the home team on their floor. We had, taken an injury the night before, lost a double-digit scoring in Layla Grant, so she didn't get to play that night. And so I was a little bit concerned that we'd have some trouble, but we shot the ball well especially in that 1st quarter, and to be able to beat them on their home floor and then we had a kid go out for getting ejected. Alana Smith got ejected in the 2nd quarter for her behavior and actions on the court, and so to lose over 30-something points a game, and to win by 22 at their home, that is really a great, significant win.
That was impressive. So 1st quarter 31-21, 2nd quarter 17-9.
Mm-hmm.
There's again the control in the other team's offense. 3rd quarter they won 20-18. Then Lady Commodores won 19-13 in the 4th quarter to make an 85-63 victory there. So if we look at that, at their place.
Yeah.
So
anytime you go into somebody's home and score 85 points, that's a great victory.
And if we look at it now, Bondu with 25 points that day.
She shot the ball well. I think she was, 10 for 20 from the field, and she had a great game and had to really extend the minutes because, Layla and Alana are both perimeter players, and so Naomi had to play almost the whole game. I think she probably played 37, 38 minutes, and, so to be able to shoot like that, usually when you get a little tired, you lose your legs, you lose your shooting, and so I was real proud for Naomi that she had such a great night when we lost so much scoring ability with those 2 guards.
And so if we drop back, Jones with 15, Smith with 13, and Farsi with 10 for the scoring side. 15 turnovers. We have we do have stats on them. You turned them over 24 times.
Yeah, again, our defense, Shara, we had to get a jumbled lineup because of our, 2 lost players, and Shara came in and played for us, and tremendous defense. So, with her and Leah playing defensively out on the perimeter, kind of shook things up, and that's where some of the 24 turnovers occurred. So Shara Simmons was excellent coming into that game and having to play kind of out of position.
And like you said, played Friday night and played Saturday. A road trip, and to beat Georgia Highlands on the road, another good win for the Lady Commodores.
Absolutely.
So now, Tuesday you go to LB Wallace and play.
Yep.
And so what do you expect, Coach?
Well, we're going into that one starting the game without 37 points a game. Alana will not play. She'll have to sit out that game. And then Layla, again, she's hurt. She's at the doctor this morning trying to find out what the severity of her injury. So, when you walk into a place 37 points down before you start, somebody's got to step up. We kind of say next woman up. And so whoever's going to replace those 2 have got to give us some offensive production.
So, and you're going in a team 7-0, perfect.
Yeah.
Going to their place, sometimes it's easy to keep a team focused in this. So they will play against LB Wallace Tuesday on the road.
Yep.
And then we have your Juco Shootout coming Friday and Saturday. Yeah. Starts at 11, 4 games on Friday and 4 games on Saturday.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of exciting. It's the first time we've hosted, and we've put on a lot of events at Gulf Coast this year, trying to bring some things back for the economy, especially after the storm. To put heads in beds and help the economy and show that we can do this. Our venue is kind of perfect for these type of events. So we'll see, and hopefully everybody will be playing their role, whether they're on the scorer's table or on the TVs or for getting the concession stand, whatever it is. Hopefully Gulf Coast will do what we always do and be hospitable and put on a good show, and then hopefully the women's basketball team will do their job and play Gulf Coast basketball. And so because we play Friday at 5 p.m. against Palm Beach State, so what do you know about Palm Beach? Yes, we're very well coached, always going to be fundamental, always going to have some good athletes, and we're definitely going to have to play. Again, we're having to jumble our lineup here pretty quickly with injury and other things that have happened. So, our young ladies have played well, and I think that's probably what I was most impressed with is that the young ladies that came in and subbed in, gave great minutes, great production, did their job, and so to come out with those victories, it looks like some good things are happening with people are improving, and the ones that are coming off the bench are just giving us great minutes.
So and then we turn around and play again Saturday, back to back. Play at 5 p.m. against Daytona State, 8-4 overall, ranked 8 in the state coaches poll.
Yeah, that one's a little bit deceiving because they've already beaten 2 Panhandle teams, and that rarely happens in pre-conference play. They've already beaten Tallahassee, and they beat Chipola. Pensacola got them, so they're probably looking for 3 strikes against the Panhandle, and they're very talented. Love their post game. We're going to have to play great on Saturday to get that victory against Daytona.
Yeah, because they're averaging 74.7
they got a nice
points a game.
Nice team.
So they got the ability to put up some points, and like you said, 2 panel conference victories will make that a really challenge for the Lady Commodores. Good team.
Absolutely.
So Lady Commodores play Friday and Saturday at 5 p.m.
Yes.
So, but you can come in 11 and watch 3 other games against some good teams. I think Chipola's playing on Saturday.
Yes.
Yes. So you can come watch them play, and but we got a little bit of time. If we run down the state coaches poll now, this will change probably in the next few
minutes.
Yeah. Yep, sometime today it'll change. But Gulf Coast ranked number 1, Northwest Florida State ranked number 2, Chipola 3, Florida Southwestern is 4, Pensacola State is 5, Miami-Dade 6, Eastern Florida State 7, Daytona State 8, St. Pete 9th, and Tallahassee 10th.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, several of these teams that are in this state coaches poll will play here Friday and Saturday.
Oh yeah, this is going to be Region 8 is strong. If anybody wants to see good basketball, this will be the place to be. And then there's 5 games a day over at Northwest Florida State. They're hosting the other side of this. So there's some great basketball going to be played in the Panhandle of Florida on Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. If we run down the national poll for the Florida nationally ranked teams, Gulf Coast 1. Northwest Florida is ranked 4th, Chipola 7th, Florida Southwestern is 15th, and Pensacola is 23rd in that national poll. And that will change tomorrow sometimes.
Yeah.
But here is the surprising thing when I looked at this morning was when we were talking about some of the teams that have lost is Gulf Coast 7-0, Northwest Florida is 9-0. Pensacola is 10-1, Chipola 9-1, and Tallahassee 6-3.
Yeah.
So so it's interesting because normally at this time of the year there's no blemishes.
Usually a lot of times Panhandle Conference will be undefeated until January 4th or 6th, whatever the starting date is from a year-to-year basis. Sometimes we're undefeated, but you're only talking about 2 with 1 loss and 1 with 3, and that's with a new coach. They're going to get that sorted out very quickly, and the Panhandle's strong again. But Region 8 is strong. There's some teams that are really coming on. Florida Southwestern has already proven, just lost to us basically at the buzzer, 1 in overtime and 1 at the buzzer, and then they played Trinity Valley, had them up, and so Florida Southwestern's proven that they're going to vie for the state. At the state title, and I think that Eastern Florida is coming, and there's just some other teams. Daytona, Region 8 is really, really starting to have some more teams that we can sit there, and we've always kind of talked about the Panhandle and how strong it is. I think we have to rephrase that and just say Region 8, period. It is strong.
Yeah, and that's the reason sometimes at the national tournament, 2, maybe 3 teams from here.
From Region 8.
From Region 8.
We're probably very deserving of that, and there's been years where it was 3 Panhandle teams, but I think those times are beginning to change a little bit, and hopefully for us here at Gulf Coast, we're just hoping that at the end of the conference play that we're one of the top 2 teams that gets to go to the region.
So for Coach Rooney Scovel, I'm James Spags. We'll be right back, Commodore fans, with Coach Phil Gaffney and talk about how the Commodores are doing on the Commodore Sports Network.
Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome back, Commodore fans. Coach Phil Gaffney going to talk about the Commodores and what they did. They played one game last week, got 3 coming up this week, Coach. But more importantly in that, 7-0 overall, ranked number 1 in the state coaches poll, ranked number 10 in the NJCA national poll. So congratulations, Coach. Still unbeaten, nationally ranked in Region 8, the number 1 team at this time.
Yeah, awful surprising. If you told me we'd be the only team left in the state undefeated, I would have probably thought you'd been crazy. If you told me that back in May when I got hired, but it's all worked out well, and we played fortunately good enough to win the games we had to. The 3 nationally ranked teams, Georgia Highlands and Daytona and Indian Hills, those are big games, and so kind of preparing us for the conference, but to win those games, showing that we can battle and beat those kind of teams, especially 2 of them we beat pretty well. You feel pretty good about yourself, and then hopefully we can sustain it as we go. But yeah, to be number 1 in the state is just amazing, and then to be ranked 10th in the country is even more shocking. And a couple teams lost in front of us this week. South Plains lost twice, and Chipola lost. So there's a chance we could maybe be number 8 later today when the poll comes out, which is amazing. It's really a testament to a good group of guys who work very hard, very coachable, buying into what we're doing, listening, paying attention, and then executing what we ask them to do.
Yeah, because you went from receiving votes to 10th.
That's a big jump.
That's a big jump.
I'd never even heard of that kind of jump.
I thought somewhere in the teens.
Right.
That's where I thought you would land. He's done well enough, he'll get in the teens, but 10th. And like you said, with those losses and when that poll comes out, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and then how it plays out going down the road. But you played Coastal Alabama and won 96-83 here at Gulf Coast. If we look at it, first half, 47-32. And then in the second half, they outscored you 51-49, but still came up 96-83 victory.
Yeah, we really played poorly in that second half. It's one of those things. I hate that game, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. The guys know they're all going home, and you get up 15. It's a team you've already played, and we didn't have any intensity second half. Not making any excuses, but we were missing 2 starters that game. So Trayvon Mayo didn't play and Derek Harden didn't play. And those are great glue guys. They do all the little stuff. Play great D, get rebounds, take charges, block shots, make good passes. And not having them really affected us. And I think it affected us in the second half because usually we're the team in the second half putting up 50 points and we're the team. We were tired. We were a little tired because our rotation's out. Deion Butler's still not back. He's projected to be our starting big man. So then you take away Derek and Trayvon, now you're down a little bit. And so now, boy, we're going to have extra guys have to play extra minutes. And in our system, it's a little tough when you're asking someone to play, 34, 35 minutes in a system where you walk it up. That's one thing. When you're asking them to play a system where you're running and gunning and pressing, that can be a little bit harder. So I think it was beneficial for us that some 2 or 3 guys really had to play a lot of minutes that second half because it kind of simulates what's going to happen in the national tournament. National tournament, we're still going to play 10 or 11, but it's going to get squeezed down, and you really need your very best players on the floor. So we were taxed quite a bit in that second half, didn't play with intensity. We were a little bit tired, and I think it showed as a result in that score in the second half.
Yeah, and you had 3 players, like you said, play 30-plus minutes in there. But now we got to talk about Holden, a double-double, 25 points, 15 rebounds. A tremendous night.
He has such a high motor. That when he plays against someone his size or smaller, he's going to go out and do those kind of things. And that's what he did. He played against someone his size and just tremendous. He's got the high motor. He gets on the glass. It's a lot of hustle points, effort points, and he did a great job.
And so Gordon followed with 20 points.
He's been outstanding. He's one of the 4 returnees. We brought him in. We said, we're not going to start. We're going to bring you off the bench. And he's been just dynamic off the bench. Great against Indian Hills, East Mississippi. And now he comes back with another great performance. He's had 3 straight games where he's probably been our best player. So thrilled with Maurice because you're not going to find a nicer young man. All of them are really nice young men. I'm blessed to be coaching them. But Maurice is especially nice. And to see him come off the bench and do what he's done the last 3 games, that's why we're undefeated.
So, and Godwin followed with 18 points.
Yeah, and he's been just great for us. And he had a couple slump games with the same thing. He's been great the last 3 games. Just a dynamic, playing great. And he needs to play great if we're going to win games.
And so, and then Howard with 13, last year double-digit scores.
Yep, and he's been a double-digit scorer off the bench for us all year. He's another guy along with Maurice Gordon that gives us that spark. He actually started that game because we're down 2 starters, so we had to have somebody start. But he's a bucket. I call him the big dog. He's out there. He doesn't care who he's playing against. He thinks he's the best player on the floor, best scorer on the floor, and you put him in the game, he's going to go out and get points.
So now, he only turned the ball over 11 times, though. With a mixed lineup like that and only have 11 turnovers is a pretty good night.
It is good, but a lot of it goes to what they do. And unfortunately, a lot of teams have been sitting back playing zone. They're not pressuring. They're not playing man. They're not trying to come out and play us man-to-man. So teams are kind of backing it up, slowing it down. Let's play zone. And so we're getting good at zone offense because we see it so much. But it's not really good at turning somebody over and getting you to turn the ball over. Really, if you turn the ball over against the zone, they're unforced errors.
So in this case, 60.9% from the free throw line, 30% from the three-point line, 52.1% from the floor. Pretty good shooting.
Really good from the 2. All year we've been dynamic from the 2. Does it got to get better from the 3 and the free throw? It's got to get better for sure, but certainly acceptable from the free throw line.
So and now Tuesday, you travel up to and play LB Wallace on the road. Ladies will play, I think, before you. And
correct.
And then you will follow them. So what do you expect, Coach?
Well, they've had a tough year so far at Wallace. But again, it's a road game. And as they say in college basketball, any road win is a good win. So you're going on foreign soil. You're the one getting in the bus. You're the one to get out of your routine. So and obviously the referees on the road are not as friendly as the ones at home. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. They've had a tough year so far. They're not the most talented team we play, but they are well coached and they will play hard. So we're just going to have to make the most of it.
And this is a game that your players could say get overlooked, and on the other hand, they're going, okay, here's a chance for us to knock somebody off. Ranked 10th in the country, supposedly the best in Region 8.
Absolutely. Our guys know we went from being the hunters to the hunted. So the target, we're kind of like Coach Scovel now. We got a big red target on our back every game. And again, I hate it because the first game back from Thanksgiving. Those games around the holiday are always shaky. Did you come back early enough? Are you prepared? The guys take 4 days off. You'd think it's a good thing that they're rested and relaxed, but sometimes taking 4 days off can be a bad thing. So we'll have to see how we do.
And then you play Friday and Saturday up at Chipola in a Chipola Classic. We'll play Polk Steak at 5 o'clock. 7-2 overall, ranked 7th in the state coaches poll and receiving votes in the NJCA national poll.
They got a dynamic score. They're playing outstanding basketball. I think they lost to Chipola and one other good team. So Polk is very, very good. We're going to have our work cut out there. And South Georgia Tech, as my old buddy Travis Garrett is the coach there. We've coached against each other for many years in Region 10 and Region 17. They have a dynamic player, Justin Johnson, who's great. So we're going to have to learn how to shut down the other team's 20-point score when we play those two teams.
Yeah, because see, when you look at playing Polk, they're averaging 86.5. Right now, Commodore's averaging 89 points, so a lot of points being put up.
I think those will be fun games to see up and down for sure.
So we play them on Friday, then like you talked about, South Georgia Tech you will play at 3 on Saturday. And you talked a little bit about them. You're from that neck of the woods up there, so you're pretty familiar with what he has and what he's going to do.
I do. We played against him last year. We played against him the last 5 years. He's been there, and I was at Georgia Highlands. And then previous to that, he was over in Region 17 at 2 different schools in U.S. Sakahatchee and Clinton, and I was at Guilford Tech. So we were both in North Carolina, South Carolina together. We both came to Georgia together, and now we're actually the closest we've ever been because we're not that far from Americus, Georgia. So hopefully we'll get him on the schedule. And it's just great to go to play Chipola because we're going to have to go over there and play this year. And if you're playing 1 or 2 games over there in the conference, you want to get used to playing on their home floor. So going over there, getting a couple games, it'll make especially our freshmen a little bit more familiar, give our sophomores a little bit more familiarity with their court. and how they do things over there and the dimensions. Because, Northwest is certainly a lot different court, and then now Chipola is certainly different. So it's good to go play on those courts and just get an idea of what it's like.
Yeah, because this year you'll play at their place twice.
Yes.
In that Panhandle Conference, both Northwest and Chipola. Both have those freestanding goals, which sometimes is an adjustment for a freshman coming in.
Huge adjustment. It was very hard. We tried to get over to Northwest Florida and certainly play, get a lot of early warm-up, and we'll do the same thing. We're the first game, as you said, 5-3 at Chipola. So we'll get over there very early, get up a lot of shots, and get acclimated.
So in that case, if we quickly, since we have a few minutes, looking at the Panhandle Conference, Gulf Coast 7-0, Tallahassee 10-1, Chipola 8-2, Pensacola State 8-2, and Northwest Florida 8-3.
Yes. Tallahassee's only lost one game. It was to my old school, Georgia Highlands. Tallahassee was up 18 with 4 to go, and Georgia Highlands put on the we call it Coastal Chaos, our press, but they put on their press, and they were racing an 18-point lead. So they went on a 21-2 run to win the game. But that's Tallahassee's only blemish in a game that they were up big with 4 to go. Chipola lost a tough one this week against Indian River, set them back a little bit, but they've been playing great, and they're super talented. Brendan does a great job with them, too. And Pensacola has had certainly been really well, played great. In Northwest Florida, they've played a challenging schedule. So the fact that they have 3 losses, it's because they've played about 5 or 6 really good teams. So it's not it is unheard of for Northwest. They don't usually lose over there like that, but gosh, I don't know how you can blame Coach Pierre. They played a tough schedule.
So he's also a new head coach coming in this year too.
He sure is. He sure is.
And so he had to come in and start late. And Mayo's team last year, almost all those guys were gone, so he had to start over. Where you pretty much had to start over, but you had a little nucleus here. But in his case, he had to build a new team.
He did. I feel for him. That's always tough when you come in. I came at the end of May. I think he was early June. So getting on the recruiting trail, there's no excuses. Nobody cares. Nobody cares when you got hired. All they want to see is wins. But I think he's doing a good job over there, and he will do a good job.
And so if we quickly look at the state coaches poll, Gulf Coast 1, Florida Southwestern 2, Chipola 3, Tallahassee 4, Northwest is 5, Miami-Dade 6, Polk State 7, Pensacola State is 8, Central Florida 9th, and Daytona State 10th in that state coaches poll. So all those Panhandle Conference teams in there.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, they're so well respected because they do really well, not just in the conference, but out of conference, they usually fare very well. Obviously, you see those records are pretty good.
So a little unusual because normally sometimes the Panhandle Conference teams will go in and without blemished records till they get in the Panhandle Conference, and then we start beating each other. But a little different this year. So if you want to see the men play, go up to Chipola and watch them play. The women will be here Friday and Saturday. The Commodores will be up at Chipola Friday and Saturday. So for Coach Phil Gaffney, I'm James Baxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.